Going to Disney World right now is a little different, but we've got the tips and tricks to help you have a great day in the parks. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. Disney World is now officially reopened. All 4 parks are open to guests, and we are there right now as you're watching this, gathering even more tips for you. We've already spent a week in the Disney parks, so today we're going to go over what you need to know before visiting Disney World now. First up, those basics, you need that park reservation. In order to keep crowds low and manageable, Disney's requiring everyone to have both a valid ticket and a park pass or park reservation. You'll make these ahead of time and they can and will sell out on some days. So as you're planning your next trip, make those park pass reservations ASAP. Without them, you are not going to be able to get in the parks. You need to access My Disney Experience via a browser to make your reservations, and it can't be done via the app. You'll only be able to visit 1 park per day. Remember, there's no park hopping right now, but you can make different park reservations for the people in your group. Say a few of you want to go to Magic Kingdom and a few want to go to Epcot, totally fine. You'll be able to make park reservations for everyone in your group as long as they're linked up to your account. If you could make a Fast Pass reservation for them before, you can now make a Park Pass reservation for them. That's how the linking works. You can see which days are available at which parks by looking at the availability calendar. You can check this out before you buy tickets or make a hotel reservation. The process isn't too complicated, so don't stress. We do have a step-by-step guide over on DisneyFoodblog.com if you need it. Secondly, on the basics, you need that mask. Disney's requiring all guests ages 2 and up to wear masks pretty much everywhere in Disney World. The only exceptions are when you're at your hotel pool swimming, sitting down at a restaurant, or in their relaxation stations within the parks. They've also updated their language to specify what counts as a mask and what does not. It's got to have loops or straps that secure around your ears and head. It's got to fit tightly to the sides of your face and fully cover your nose and mouth and secure under your chin. Gaiters, bandanas, and face shields are not considered acceptable masks, and you will very likely be turned away or asked to use a different type of mask if you're wearing one. We have a whole video on tips for wearing a mask in Disney World, but a few quick tips. Make sure that mask is comfortable. Try it out ahead of time and bring backups. Different styles and materials can make a big difference, and being able to switch that mask out midday when it's hot is super helpful. Also, I like to bring a couple different types of masks with me because just like, when you wear a new pair of shoes or something, how they rub your feet the wrong way, so masks can pull on your ears a weird way or sit on your face a weird way. And after a few hours of that, you might want to switch to a different type of mask, a different fabric, or something like that, a different way that the ear loops work or the straps go around your head. So I bring a couple different types of masks, including one of the sort of disposable masks, because those tend to be a little more breathable sometimes, so you might want to switch to that later in the day instead of your super cute cloth mask. And also remember to stay hydrated. When you got that mask on, it is harder to drink and much easier to forget. So set an alarm on your phone and be sure to take water breaks. This is super helpful. People get dehydrated all the time in the summer in Disney World anyway, and if you actually have to kind of pull your mask down to drink, sometimes it's just too much of a hassle, so make sure that you set that alarm maybe once an hour to stop and take a couple of sips of water. In addition to wearing a mask, everyone entering the parks is going to need to have their temperature checked. So your temperature is read by a touchless thermometer, and there's a cool down tent at the entrance if you need a moment in the shade. It's seriously hot out there, like 105 heat index every day this week. It is debilitating how hot it is in Disney World right now. So having that cool down tent can be really helpful. Now, we thought this would be one of the weirdest changes upon coming back to the parks, but the process is so quick and simple, it honestly turns out to be one of the smaller changes we've experienced. All right, let's talk about the unexpected things you need to know before you go to Disney World right now. We knew you'd need to wear a mask. We knew you'd need those temperature checks and all of that. That's all old news now, right? But there are a few things we didn't expect how much of a big deal it might be. So this is a surprising one. You don't need to arrive super early anymore, you guys. Rope drop, or arriving at the park right at opening, has always been the gold standard of Disney planning advice. Crowds are lower then, you'll get on everything with the lowest wait possible. But right now, it seems going early means you're actually waiting in longer lines. Disney isn't letting people in super early at the moment. Park opening time is park opening time. No one's getting in 30 minutes ahead of the scheduled time and hopping in line for Flight of Passage. Parking lots have only been opening about 20 to 30 minutes ahead of the scheduled opening, and transportation is waiting a bit longer to start running as well. Why are they doing this? This reduces the number of people standing around at the park entrance in order to get in. Because remember those throngs of crowds outside the park gates before it opens? Yeah, Disney's trying to avoid that because that, of course, means a large gathering of people, and that isn't safe right now. Definitely don't need to get there early, and guess what? People who do get there early, they all tend to swamp the rides at the same time, and so those lines tend to be a little bit longer. So we'd recommend waiting an hour or so after the park's open to head over. It's going to be much easier to park because you don't have sort of those long lines of people waiting to get into park at the parking lots. And you won't have to wait in as long a line for the monorail or the boat if you're going over to Magic Kingdom. Wait times are going to be low pretty much throughout the day, and they're actually lower in the late afternoon and the evening as of right now. Since capacity is lower, lines for rides are going to be much, much shorter. And while we expected wait times would stay short, we didn't expect Flight of Passage to sit at 5 minutes practically all day long. Lines at Magic Kingdom got a bit longer. Splash Mountain and Pirates of the Caribbean both hit 50 minutes at times. But overall, most rides stayed under 20 minutes, and that's even with rides closing every 2 hours for sanitation. Lines may look really long, but remember that each queue has those social distancing stickers in place, and they're using the full queues to make that happen. So you're going to be walking through all the switchbacks to get to the ride, but it's going to be a shorter wait than a regular park day. Wait times did definitely drop throughout the day, with that last hour of park time seeing low waits for just about everything. Why is that? Well, because you can't park hop, so you don't have a new fresh crowd of people coming in midday. Basically, everyone gets there in the morning, they ride everything they want to ride, and then they go home. So people coming in the late afternoon basically have the place to themselves. Now, of course, Disney can change capacity anytime they want. So if they're finding that there's not enough people in the park, they may raise capacity, and they may go the other direction as well. So what we're experiencing this week might not be, the final situation you're going to experience, but honestly, I think a lot of people wanted to be there here this first week, so I kind of imagine the crowds are going to go down even lower, possibly. But again, we'd recommend not going first thing in the morning, especially since you don't need to arrive first thing to get a Rise of the Resistance boarding pass anymore. Rise of the Resistance is still using a virtual queue boarding pass system, but instead of all the passes being distributed first thing in the morning, there's now 3 times you can get one: 10 a.m., 1 p.m., and 4 p.m. All right, another unexpected thing you need to know about: stores may have longer lines than the rides. So Disney isn't just limiting capacity on the rides and in queues, some stores are going to have lines to get in as well. Splash Mountain merchandise has been flying off the shelves since the parks reopened, and Disney made the announcement that the ride will be rethemed to Princess and the Frog. Briar Patch Gifts has been using a virtual queue to get in. We saw this in Disney Springs and other stores as well around the parks, which are set up to use this system if they need it. Basically, you sign up for a wait list and you'll get a text message when it's time to return. The Splash Mountain shop was running to 3 or 4 hour waits every day we've been in the Magic Kingdom, so if you want to get in there, hit sign up for that list first because they will close the wait list down when they hit capacity or when they run out of merchandise for that day. Generally, the virtual queues we've seen to get in just the regular shops haven't been that long if they've been in use at all. But again, those virtual queues are because they're only allowed to have a certain number of people in the store at a time in order to maintain the social distancing. All right, next unexpected thing that you need to know before you go to Disney World: transportation is going to take a long time. We'd already seen how buses were socially distancing guests by dividing the seats into sections so that only a few parties can ride at a time. But the monorail is also reducing the number of guests in each cabin. There's a divider in the middle of the car, and your party will get a bench in the cabin or the whole cabin, depending on the size of your group. Right now on the monorail, they're only seating 2 groups per section of car, so they won't seat anyone with you on that one bench. The ferry to Magic Kingdom is also having fewer guests. You'll see stickers that let you know where to stand, and the Skyliner will only be running with 1 party per cabin. Some of these will take longer than others. The monorail right around Magic Kingdom opening will take the longest, and we recommend grabbing a bus from the Transportation and Ticket Center over to the Magic Kingdom if there's a line for the monorail when you arrive. If you're staying at a Disney hotel, be sure to check when your resort's transportation is going to begin running. It seems that bus service will start about 45 minutes before the parks open. And a few more tips that you gotta have. First up, make midday dining reservations. It is hot in Florida right now, and while wearing a mask isn't necessarily going to make it any hotter, it's really nice to head inside for some AC and be able to get a break from wearing your mask. So plan a midday sit-down meal to give yourself a break from the park, the heat, and your mask. Make those reservations ahead of time though, because seating at table service restaurants is super limited right now, and while walk-up reservations could be available, we wouldn't bank on it. Make a reservation for around 1 or 2 p.m. and have a nice relaxing lunch. If you want to check out another resort you aren't staying at, be sure to make a dining reservation in advance, otherwise you may not be allowed to visit. And all right, let's talk about portable chargers. Disney restaurants are using QR code menus, so you're going to need your phone to look at them. So make sure you've got a charge at all times. Now, of course, they do have paper menus as backup if you need that or if you don't have a smartphone. But we're going to tell you to bring some backup portable chargers to keep your phone battery up all day. Disney is also heavily recommending contactless payments and using mobile order and mobile check-in when it's available. So you're going to need that phone, so make sure it's charged. And let's talk characters. Be ready for characters. Characters aren't doing regular meet and greets, and there's no parade in Magic Kingdom, but they show up all the time. These are basically mini parades or cavalcades, as Disney likes to call them. When you hear the music change and get louder, characters are probably coming, so get out your camera and beware of social distancing. This is when we saw the most potential for people to slip up and stand too close to one another. We get it. Mickey's coming down the street. You're excited. Just keep an eye on your personal space and that of those around you. And remember that character meals are happening at a few places right now. Topolino's Terrace and Garden Grill both give you a chance to get a little more one-on-one time with Mickey, though he won't come up to your table and give you a hug. He'll be dancing around and you can take a socially distanced selfie with him and with the other characters that you see. So those are some really, really important tips that you need to know before going to Disney World right now. Another quick one is that Disney has a lot of great protocol in place from the health and safety perspective, but remember that you are there with a bunch of other people and some of them are not going to be following the rules. So stay aware and keep yourself safe. If it looks like you're headed kind of into a choke point where there's a lot of people and they're not really socially distanced, turn around and go the other way. Magic Kingdom's a big circle. You can get where you need to go going another direction. And be thoughtful about who's around you as well. Keep your mask on. You're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for everybody else. Please be vigilant, be aware, take care of yourself, take care of your family, and take care of your fellow guests in the parks and of course those cast members. Thank you guys for listening and thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let us know. We are reporting everything over on the blog. We're answering all of the questions you guys have. We've been really, really focused on making sure we get those answers for you. So if you have any more, let us know. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Everything's going up there as well. And we also have, of course, stories from the parks in those social channels as well. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.